Happy to be joined by Bowling Green High School head football coach Mark Spader. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good, good. Got another season starting up tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, I'm a little off balance. It's a Friday, and I'd love to be playing, but we are fortunate enough to have our Rafferty's Bowl on the opening Saturday, so we have to wait a day. Well, a lot of other teams get to start tonight.
Right, right. Well, you're coming on the heels of me talking to Coach Wallace, so you got some big shoes to fill, which
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
you're used to, right?
yeah. It was a little odd at first, but I'm settled in now. Of course, we bang heads against each other each season. We've had some memorable matchups. And he'll travel over here next week for his last year of high school football. So,
Yeah. Let's go back. You all were both assistants under Coach Dan Haley.
well,
Had
really, we kind of tagged off on each other. I went out to Warren East as he left Warren East, and he took my offensive backfield job here with Coach Haley, and then proceeded to go to a state championship and lose, and then won a state championship, and of course, he ends up being head coach. So I had a little time away at Warren East and Warren Central before I came back here in '04 to join him. So
right,
I'm back
right.
here because of Kevin.
In '04, you literally came the season after I graduated. So we missed each other on that point.
Yeah, you just kicked against me.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, hopefully, for Bowling Green's sake, hopefully I hit more than I missed.
Oh yeah, you were quite excellent.
Uh, well, no, tell me about just your career following Coach Wallace. Again, that's got to be big shoes, but you've seemed to fill those shoes pretty well. What has it been like getting acclimated to being the head coach of Bowling Green?
Well, he fortunately included me in on a lot of decisions and things while I was here with him. I don't know if he purposely did that or not, but I had coached under Coach Haley, much like him. That's how I began my career in '91. So I think he had a little respect for me and confided in me quite a bit. We worked well together, and in his own way, it kind of prepared me. We didn't know for certain he was going to go somewhere else, but it was an offer he couldn't refuse. And I didn't come back here with the thought, hey, I want to be head coach here someday. I just always thought, if Kevin decides to move on, I would love to have the opportunity. And I don't think you're ever ready for this job, but it made that transition a little smoother. And Lord, I'm at a great place with from top to bottom administration down to the coaching staff I have, and then of course the crazed Purple Nation that feeds the beast. It's a great place to be. So I don't take it for granted. I wake up every morning and I still pinch myself because I'm the head coach here.
Sure, sure. Well, just in the same realm, you follow Coach Wallace. What was that first championship like?
Well, it was crazy because that was right in the middle of all the COVID madness and lockdowns and masks, and it was quite a season. A lot of hurdles to get over. That one will be memorable to me. I had won a number as an assistant before he left, and that was my first head coach championship. But what we had to do as a staff and a team, what we had to overcome, and then the playoff road we had, everybody we faced each week was the number one team in the state. So it wasn't an easy road, but man, when we got to the end, it was so euphoric because of what we had to overcome to get that. So it's special on so many levels. I'll never forget that year.
Right, right. So you're pretty much established there now. It's not like this just happened yesterday that you became head coach. You now owner of three state titles. What have you taken away from Bowling Green the most, being the head coach?
I still harken back to when I started here in '91. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the first Bowling Green team that won a region in '91. We beat Paducah in double overtime that year. And I just remember the reaction from our fans. It was at Paducah. You would have thought we won a state title at that time. They hadn't won one yet. So to see the progression of what Coach Haley built and then what Coach Wallace did with it when he took over, it's something that really drives you. I mean, the fear of letting the program fall off or missing a beat. I know we're not going to win championships every year, but to be able to maintain a program at a high level, it's something that weighs on my mind. But it's a good pressure. There's high expectations. I wouldn't have it any other way. I tell our kids all the time, go to work for places that expect greatness from you. You may not achieve it every year, but at least you got something driving your tail every morning when you get out of bed. And it's just trying to maintain what we've done, but improve on it as well. Our facilities have improved. It's something that evolves each year. And even some of those players from those early 90 teams that I coach, when they come back, they're just amazed at what the place looks like and what we're doing. But they're all a part of that foundation of where we are now. You
Right.
as well. I mean, all of you guys that came through, I just think they're important pieces to what we're doing now.
Oh yeah, actually, I think I reached out to you last year because it was my 20th high school reunion. I was planning on coming by the facility. I hadn't seen it since y'all remodeled, and unfortunately, it had a rain out. The game was canceled, and
Well, we
wasn't
moved it to
able to.
Thursday night. We kind of beat the storm, but
Yeah,
that threw everybody's plans off. Our
wasn't able to
principal
see the
wasn't none
place.
too
So
happy.
yeah, I'm still looking forward to coming through and seeing the field house and whatnot. So
You'll be amazed, and you need to be here. I tell all the old purples, come back and check it out and see what's evolving.
absolutely, I certainly will, Coach. Um, what? Tell me how your faith and this goes about leading young men and turning young men into young adults and the development as human beings. How that goes aside from football.
Well, being at a public school, we have to be mindful of how much we push that line. But I expressed my Christianity in front of my players, and they know, I'm a Catholic, and that God is number one with me. My language isn't always attributed to that, and my actions aren't always. But I tell them I'm a sinful person. But I do think they know that my heart's in the right place with them as young men, and particularly with our coaches on our staff. I mean, it's high school football, so and we're at a place we're expected to win, but it's not college or pro. So we are, I just think it's so important. And it's the older I get, and I've raised three sons myself, that we are in an important position to really help guys become young men and go out in the world and do good things. And that's common. I try to tie in what the game of football can do for them, the way we go about business in a week to prepare for a game, and all those things we lean on, of overcoming adversity and being able to lean on each other. That those are life skills they can use. And I just, the older I get and the more players come back, I do think we have that connection with them. We have made a difference in people's lives and giving them the ability to go through and be good husbands and fathers and workers and whatever it is they're doing, to try to be a good person first and foremost. But they get to do that while being a part of a fantastic program. So,
Right.
that makes it a little easier. So I don't think I'm always the greatest example of a godlike person, but I always say it's God, family, and then Purple's football. And that's kind of what I subscribe to. My family's always going to come first, but our team's just like a big family too. So that ranks right in there.
Yeah, yeah. That I know we always strive to be the best of men, and maybe we're not always the best examples, but we try hard.
Right.
What did I meant to ask Coach Wallace this, and I'm really regretful that I didn't. What did Coach Jimmy Bailey mean to you?
He was a man that when I came back, I left, and after the 93 season, he wasn't a part of the program. But I even when I wasn't here, we had crossed paths, shook hands, exchanged pleasantries. But when I came back in '04, he really gave me a hard looking at for a couple of weeks. He wasn't sure about me, but as time went on, I mean, just what he meant to our program, the behind the scenes things he did, he went above and beyond to find out what was going on in our players' lives. So sometimes they weren't performing on the field, and we were frustrated as coaches, but he knew what was going on at home or
Right.
what was going on in that young man's life at the time. But that's the kind of guy he was. I mean, just he'd give the shirt off his back. He'd have to go ask somebody to help pay his electric bill the next week, but he'd give everything he had and was good to me. And my children were coming into the program as water boys. He was great to my children. He's just a good man. And when he left our world, we had a staff meeting, and Coach Wallace had a legal pad, and we were trying to write down everything that Jimmy did for our program. I think it was 42 items, and it's just everything from watering down Powerades to, how he cared for our kids. And it was a lot of different shoes to fill. It was, for somebody that from an outsider may just go, yeah, he just drives the bus for him. No, he was a bus driver, but he was an important part of what we do. And we try to help. We've got a video that WBKO did a story on him after he died. Mm-hmm. We try to show that to our teams periodically to remind them. So his legacy's still here. His plaque's still on the wall outside. They all touch him when they come in the building on game night. So we try to help let his legacy live on.
He was a good dude. I know when I was having, some hard times that he was right there, and
he's the guy, man.
Yeah, he was the guy, and he had told me my freshman year when I had just started playing football at Bowling Green. He said, "Y'all are going to win a state title." And when we lost my last game my senior year, and we hadn't won, like I just felt like such. It's like we let him down. He called a shot, and we let him down, and it's like
he had that effect on people.
I had that in my head so much. It's like y'all are gonna win a state championship, and I think I told my buddy Clint Eccles at the time in that locker room. I was like, Coach called a shot, and we didn't deliver. That was tough because he was such a good dude and just wanted to perform for him, man.
That was a heartbreaking loss for y'all too. That lingered for a little while after. I came back after that, and it was still lingering here. So,
being at Kentucky and seeing them sign Curtis Pulley after that Hopkinsville game, at my last 3 years at Bowling Green, we lost to Hopkinsville
right.
every single year in the playoffs, and now I live out this direction in Western Kentucky, and it still deceits at me.
Of course, I'm a Hoptown grad.
I know.
Not that I was rooting for them then, but it's the last year that school is going to be in existence. It's going to go away after this year. So
yeah,
I've got kind of mixed feelings about that.
Well, what about this season, Coach?
Well, we have shown flashes in our scrimmage. I think we could be really good, and I think we could have a chance. But we lost a lot of not only just players, but senior leadership. And we're slowly coming along. We had a great week of practice this week, and we haven't to this point. And our scrimmages have reflected that. We've been very inconsistent. We've had some stupid penalties, and we just have to show some consistency of how we go about our business. And I think we did this week, and we need to. We're playing a really good Owensboro Catholic team. So we're going to open up this front end of this schedule, and it's going to show everything that we're not very good at really quick. And I like that because we've got a building that over the last few years has gone to work throughout the season. And we may not be the prettiest thing at the first, but by the time we get through our district and get to the playoffs, we've been a lot to handle. So this group's got a great example of how to do it. And I think we can, but you just never know. We got to go play the games and hope we grow and learn and get a little better over the year.
Like I said, you're going to find out. Not the easiest road as far as schedule was.
We like that, though, barring some crazy injury. I mean, I'm just a firm believer these games get you ready for those big playoff matchups. So, by the time we get to those points, our kids have been in these pressure situations, and we kind of know what we're going to get out of it.
So when you get St. X, you and Coach Wallace, do you have winner gets dinner at Rafferty's or anything like that?
No, we just usually talk to each other about trying to keep our jobs. He knows where I am, and I've got a feeling I know where he is, and they demand excellence there as well.
Yeah.
he does miss Bowling Green. He enjoyed his time here. Of course, he was crazy successful here, and
Mm.
I know he misses Bowling Green. So although I'm not sure he's totally happy with being done coaching, I know he and his wife are going to be happy to get back to Bowling Green.
Well, we certainly have a good lineage of coaches at Bowling Green High, and even Coach Wallace said he feels like the Bowling Green High School football program is just like a lineage of Dan Haley with Dan, and then Coach Wallace, and then yourself. That it's been a tremendous run to see us really step up to the next level. We had that first championship in '95, but then we really it took us a while to get on a level playing field with everybody else. But yourself and Coach Wallace certainly took that to the next level to where one of the premier football programs in the state. So congrats to you, and certainly look forward to seeing what happens this season.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's high school football, and I already said that, but and we got a lot of new guys that are ready to step in. And in these scrimmages, I've already seen some kids making plays that they didn't touch the field last year. So that's what's exciting in our program. That kids kind of wait their turn, and then when it's their time to shine, I always say when you can get to the playoffs with a good group of seniors, there's nothing like a Bowling Green senior in the playoffs. They don't want it to end. They
Right.
they want to keep winning, and I think we've got the makings of it, but it's we got to prepare each week and prepare each day and go through this season and see where it takes us.
Interested? What's your favorite win since you've been at Bowling Green? And I asked Coach Wallace the same thing about his first win or his favorite win at Bowling Green. I assumed it was going to be his first championship, and he proved me wrong. He came up with a different answer. So
Did he say? The 2012 John Harden game?
he said the 20. I think he said 2013 Blackman game.
Oh,
Um,
that was crazy. That was a
yeah.
crazy night. I
So,
would still, as crazy as it sounds, my first year here was 91. Being a part of that first region, I was a young coach. I thought I stepped into an NFL program when I went to my first practice here. And we go along on that road. We traveled that year and beat a great Paducah team at their place for our first region. That I just that always that's why we still celebrate regions here. Everybody takes them for granted. I tell our team when we were in a region, we're going to celebrate it because they didn't have one here for forever.
right.
So I would say that's one, and that was just as I was a lowly assistant then. I mean, I think I coached anchors that year. So I mean, it wasn't like I was heavily involved, but that's a memorable one. But we've had some great teams and great playoff matchups. I think sadly as a coach, most of my heavy memories are losses.
Right.
Like you said, those games where you're like, man, I mean, we lost three straight championships in 05, 06, '07. And at that point, I just told myself, I guess we're never going to win one. I mean, it's like it was so tough to swallow. But there's still heavy memories. Some of those games.
Right. Right. Well, give me a couple players that we should be paying attention to this year.
Well, I think he's a Mr. Football candidate, but Travy Barber is coming back it's his fourth year starting at receiver. Um, and I think by the end of the year he'll own every receiving record that we have here. And he plays for Necarius Fant, who presently owns every
Right.
receiving record here and was a Mr. Football. So I'm hoping we can have that kind of season. He's much like Deuce Bailey, who just graduated. He's a humble, hardworking kid, quiet. I need him to be a little more vocal now, but very exciting to watch. Jackson Smith's also back on the offensive side, plays a little defense. Malik Coburn is on the edge of our defense. Montez Trussell will be a 3-year starter at linebacker. I mean, he's back. So we've got some good leadership pieces. But, I'm just anxious to see how we're going to pull it all together and how everybody fits.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Coach, again, best of luck to you this season. Certainly be pulling for you if you ever need anything. Don't
Well, you
hesitate
know,
to
Purple, you
reach
better
out.
pull for us.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like I told Coach Wallace, I said, you know, the head coach of Saint X. I was like, man, that's just weird. I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna call you former head coach of Bowling Green,
There
and
you go. Hell, you ought to come over next week. It's my birthday, August 29th, and he's coming over for his last game here. You ought to come over next week.
Yeah, yeah. I certainly want to make it out and see what y'all got going on there. It's been a long time, but I appreciate you taking time out to chat.
Yeah.
Again,
Thanks for
all the
having me.
best of luck, and you know, just good juju on a good season and a successful season for you, Coach.
And I appreciate that. Thanks, man, for having me.
Thanks, Coach Spader.
All
Have
right.
a good one.